bitter cold in Jefferson City, Missouri on the grounds of the Capitol today to highlight the case of Jeff Weinhaus. I'm a citizen and resident of the state of Missouri, and I had never heard of Jeff Weinhaus until a filmmaker named Gavin Fine put it up on the internet, and I got to investigate what went on with Jeff Weinhaus. Since then, I visited Jeff in prison many times and become great friends with Jeff. He's the greatest, most God-fearing person I know, tremendously upbeat still after what's happened to him. And I think it's important for the public, for the governor, and everyone to know what happened to Jeff Weinhaus, because this is a manifest injustice. And this cannot be. If it can happen to him, it can happen to us. We are all Jeff Weinhaus. Because we all have a God-given right to criticize our government, to stand up and air our grievances without fear of being shot and incarcerated for 30 years. Are they going to cheat all of us? For those of you that don't know, Jeff Weinhaus was the Bulletinman. For 16 years, he'd been printing bulletins in Franklin County, Missouri, and Crawford County, and other places surrounding there about what was going on in the community. People knew and trusted Jeff to tell them the truth. Jeff began investigating what he considered was possible criminal activity on behalf of the authorities. He was investigating the suspicious death of a person named Kelly Brand and others, and he thought perhaps some of the local officials might have been involved. These same officials then began to harass Jeff. They called on his house. Agents of the Missouri Highway Patrol, acting outside their jurisdiction, showed up at Jeff's house. They said they were there to investigate marijuana, but they stole Jeff's computers with all of his bulletins so that he could no longer publish his bulletins. Then they set up an ambush. They told Jeff that he could get his computers back. Later testimony revealed they had no intention of ever giving Jeff his computers back, but they called him to this ambush. And Jeff showed up at the ambush. Later testimony, the officer that shot Jeff said he thought Jeff was talking on the phone to get a big force to come and fight them. Jeff did talk on the phone with his wife Valerie, and he began to pray. He got a force bigger than that state highway patrol officer had ever seen before on his side, because he prayed to God and he said, God, whatever they're going to try to do to me, strike it down. Jeff was shot twice in the head, twice in the chest, and miraculously survived. He went to hospital. He was in the hospital for about a month. Incurred bills of well over $500,000. Was never arrested until the day he went out, or 2 weeks after he got out of the hospital, because the authorities didn't want to pay the hospital bill after they had attempted to murder Jeff. Yes, I'm saying right here today, Missouri State Highway Patrolman attempted to murder Jeff Weinhaus.
Sergeant Henry Folsom.
Sergeant Henry Folsom. There's no doubt about it. Because Jeff had a spy watch. He had a Google watch on his left hand that recorded the whole incident. Sergeant Folsom later testified that the whole incident took about 10-15 minutes, that he asked Jeff to sign these papers, and that Jeff moved this way and then went that way. And then he asked his partner to go back in the trunk and describe the process that took about 15 minutes. We know now from watching the spy watch video that the whole process took about 11 seconds. He said, Jeff, why are you carrying a gun? Jeff said, I don't know, why are you carrying a gun? He said, I'm authorized to carry a gun. Well, I have news from Mr. Folsom. We're all authorized to carry a gun.
Hear, hear.
And then Sergeant Folsom shot Jeff 4 times. Later, about 10 minutes later, if you watch the spy watch camera, Jeff had a parachute holster. He did have a gun, and Jeff told me, and the evidence is proved with his right hand. They saw it. It's been proven. If you watch just the spy watch camera video, about 10 minutes in, other officers are showing up at the scene. One of them looks down on the ground and he sees this holster. He's looking at this holster on the ground and he says, is that a gun in there? Is that a gun in there? Whereas Sergeant Folsom testified that the gun was drawn. It wasn't. This is perjury. This is a situation that must be remedied because it affects all of us. We must have the right to criticize our government or our entire system will fall down. And this situation must be remedied. Jeff Weinhaus must be released from jail and compensated for damage.
It needed to be done yesterday.
You're here.
Yes. No more. Not one more day.
Not one more day.
Not one more day.
So Jeff has filed, since the new governor Parson has been in office, Jeff has filed an official pardon application under the clause manifest injustice. This should be working its way to your desk, Governor. As far as I know, the new Attorney General, Eric Schmidt, can stop this right now because there is a petition for habeas corpus in the federal court in St. Louis. All the Attorney General would have to do, I'm not a lawyer, but I believe all the Attorney General would have to do would be to file an amended brief supporting Jeff Weinhaus' petition for habeas corpus. Get this good man out of jail and do it now.
Get this good man out of jail and put those that belong behind bars
One thing,
behind bars.
we have Evil Love here representing Jeff Weinhaus in jail. And to fully understand how this occurred with Jeff Weinhaus being convicted of a crime which did not exist, because he is convicted of shooting officers with a firearm, and no one shot the officers that day. They're perfectly healthy. No firearm charge that stayed in the holster. And at the trial, Jeff Weinhaus was told he had the right to defend himself, but he was fitted with shot cuffs. I'm not kidding you. Shot cuffs, 80,000 bolts. Mr. Weinhaus, you have the right to defend yourself. And if you do so, we're going to hit you with 80,000 volts.
I never pulled. I never pulled.
You get the idea. This happened in the state of Missouri, people. We're always told in the news about all these injustices happening in Saudi Arabia or that. This happened. We have political prisoners right here in the state of Missouri.
This is the show me state. This is what we call justice.
And we just say prosecuting attorney, former prosecuting attorney Robert Parks. He was in office way too long. He needs to be held accountable for all of this.
Hey.
Robert Parks is the prosecuting attorney for Franklin County, Missouri, who prosecuted Jeff. And Robert Parks was in on this from the get-go. He was communicating with these state officers who were acting outside of their jurisdiction, and he signed the search warrant. The search warrant would have required the local sheriff to be involved, which he wasn't. So I believe it was an illegal search warrant. But he was in on this from the beginning. And the jury didn't see all the evidence, but Mr. Parks saw all the evidence. He knows that Jeff was innocent, and yet he convicted him anyway. And they wanted to get rid of Jeff because they said Jeff was a troublemaker. But getting rid of Jeff didn't stop the trouble. The trouble in Franklin County continued because Jeff was only reporting on it. And Robert Parks and a small cabal of people operating an informant program, the informant program dealing drugs themselves, is still active in Franklin County.
Yes, it is.
We've seen in Columbia, Missouri, the same thing with the police department operated for over 20 years with a brothel and drug dispensary that they knew was operating and worked along with it for over 20 years under the guise of an informant program. Governor Parson, stop these informant programs and do it now. I'm going to pass the mic around and hear what anyone else has to say. First of all, I'd like to introduce the famous world traveler, Roger Reese.
Let's get someone else to film mine.
Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Thank you, Matt. That was great. Matt, I think, summarized the Jeff Weinhaus case very well. Jeff was denied almost every right that any of us have to defend ourselves if we're ever facing a serious criminal prosecution. You know, a lot of people are like you. We grow up and we're taught that you know, the American Constitution and American laws are there to protect us, and that if we're ever charged with a crime we didn't commit, all we have to do is come forward and show our evidence and show that we're innocent, and that the rules of evidence and the laws will allow us to do so. In fact, I can tell you, having been a lawyer and having witnessed many big cases, high-profile cases over the years, that's not really the way it works most of the time. In fact, I can just tell you that in all the big cases that I'm familiar with, starting way back even in the Waco prosecutions, the Timothy McVeigh case, the Randy Weaver case, all of these big cases, the biggest profile cases in American history. Look at the Bundy case. The Bundy cases in Oregon and Nevada. There were 5 trials. And I can tell you, I watched those proceedings as close as anyone, probably closer than almost anyone. And I can tell you that in the biggest trials in America, where you would think that the focus and the spotlight would be on the authorities and the prosecutors and the law enforcement agencies, you would think such that they would have to abide and comply with the basic rules of evidence and fairness. I can tell you the government system works, but they won't call out the prosecutors like they should.
Inside their jurisdiction, showed up at Jeff's house. They said they were going to investigate marijuana, but they stole Jeff's computers and all of his bulletins so that he could no longer publish his bulletins. Then they set up an ambush. They told Jeff that he could get his computers back. Later testimony revealed they had no intention of ever giving Jeff his computers back. But they called him to this ambush. And Jeff showed up at the ambush. Later testimony, the officer that shot Jeff said he thought Jeff was talking on the phone to get a big force to come and fight them. Jeff did talk on the phone with his wife Valerie, and he began to pray. He got a force bigger than that state highway patrol officer had ever seen before on his side. Because he prayed to God and he said, God, whatever they're going to try to do to me, strike it down. Jeff was shot twice in the head, twice in the chest, and miraculously survived. He went to hospital. He was in the hospital for about a month, incurred bills of well over $500,000, was never arrested until the day he went out, or 2 weeks after he got out of the hospital, because the authorities didn't want to pay the hospital bill after they had attempted to murder Jeff. Yes, I'm saying right here today, Missouri State Highway Patrolman attempted to murder Jeff Weinhaus.
Mr. Folsom.
Sergeant Henry Folsom. There's no doubt about it. Because Jeff had a spy watch. He had a Google watch on his left hand that recorded the whole incident. Sergeant Folsom later testified that the whole incident took about 10-15 minutes, that he asked Jeff to sign these papers, and that Jeff moved this way and he went that way, and that he asked his partner to go back in the trunk and describe the process that took about 15 minutes. We know now from watching the spy watch video that the whole process took about 11 seconds. He said, Jeff, why are you carrying a gun? Jeff said, I don't know, why are you carrying a gun? He said, I'm authorized to carry a gun. Well, our news from Mr. Folsom, we're all authorized to carry a gun.
Here, here.
And then Sergeant Folsom shot Jeff 4 times. Later, about 10 minutes later, if you watch this spy watch camera, Jeff had a parachute holster. He did have a gun, and Jeff told me, and evidence has proved this to be the case, the gun was holstered on his left hip, and it was cross-holstered. In other words, it was set in a position to draw from the right side. But the gun was in a parachute holster. This is a military-style holster designed for paratroopers. It's very difficult for the gun to come out of there. It takes 2 hands to get the gun out of there. FBI agents that witnessed this testify they saw Jeff's right hand. He never went for any gun. He never moved his right hand. They saw it. It's been proven. If you watch Jeff's spy watch camera video, about 10 minutes in, other officers are showing up at the scene. One of them looks down on the ground and he sees this holster. And he's looking at this holster on the ground and he says, "Is that a gun in there? Is that a gun in there?" Whereas Sergeant Folsom testified that the gun was drawn. It wasn't. This is perjury. I'd say, Governor, it looks like attempted murder. I think this man should be arrested. And this is a situation that must be remedied because it affects all of us. We must have the right to criticize our government or our entire system will fall down.
Amen.
And this situation must be remedied. Jeff Weinhaus must be released from jail and compensated for damages.
Here, here.
Yesterday.
Here, here.
Yes. No more. Not one more day.
Not one more day.
Not one more day.
Not have
So-
any rights.
Jeff has filed, since the new Governor Parson has been in office, Jeff has filed an official pardon application
Free Jeff Weinhaus.
under the cause manifest injustice. This should be working its way to your desk, Governor. As far as I know, the new Attorney General, Eric Schmidt, can stop this right now because there is a petition for habeas corpus in the federal court in St. Louis. All the Attorney General would have to do, I'm not a lawyer, but I believe all the Attorney General would have to do would be to file an amended brief supporting Jeff Weinhaus' petition for habeas corpus. Get this good man out of jail.
Yes, get this good man out of jail and put those that belong behind
One
bars
thing,
behind bars.
we have Evil Love here representing Jeff Weinhaus in jail. And to fully understand how this occurred with Jeff Weinhaus being convicted of a crime which did not exist, because he is convicted of shooting the officers with a firearm, and no one shot the officers that day. They're perfectly healthy. No firearms that stayed in the holster. And at the trial, Jeff Weinhaus was told he had the right to defend himself, but he was fitted with shot cuffs. I'm not kidding you. Shot cuffs, 80,000 volts.
Battery down there, right
Mr.
there.
Weinhaus, you have the right to defend yourself, but if you do so, we're going to hit you with 80,000 volts.
I never.
You get the idea. This happened in the state of Missouri, people. We're always told in the news about all these injustices happening in Saudi Arabia or that. This happened. We have political prisoners right here in the state of Missouri.
This is the show me state. And this is what we call justice.
And we can thank the prosecuting attorney, former prosecuting attorney, Robert Parks. He was in office way too long. He needs to be held accountable for all of this.
Robert Parks is the prosecuting attorney for Franklin County, Missouri, who prosecuted Jeff. And Robert Parks was in on this from the get-go. He was communicating with these state officers who were acting outside of their jurisdiction, and he signed a search warrant. The search warrant would have required the local sheriff to be involved, which he wasn't. So I believe it was an illegal search warrant. But he was in on this from the beginning. And the jury didn't see all the evidence, but Mr. Parks saw all the evidence. He knows that Jeff was innocent, and yet he convicted him anyway. And they wanted to get rid of Jeff because they said Jeff was a troublemaker. But getting rid of Jeff didn't stop the trouble. The trouble in Franklin County continued because Jeff was only reporting on it. And Robert Parks and a small cabal of people operating an informant program, the informant program dealing drugs themselves, is still active in Franklin County.
Yes, it is.
We've seen in Columbia, Missouri, the same thing with the police department operated for over 20 years with a brothel and drug dispensary that they knew was operating and worked along with it for over 20 years under the guise of an informant program. Governor Parson, stop these informant programs and do it now. I want to pass the mic around and hear what anyone else has to say. First of all, I'd like to introduce the famous world traveler, Roger Roots.
Roger Roots.
Casey, if the girls sit in the car, do you think Camaro will bother them?
I see everybody's shaking. It's so cold.
I'm shaking here. You guys want to get in the car?
Are you sure you don't want a jacket?
You want me to here?
Thank you, Matt. That was great. Matt, I think, summarized the Jeff Weinhaus case very well. Jeff was denied almost every right that any of us have to defend ourselves if we're ever facing serious criminal prosecution. You know, a lot of people are like me. We grow up and we're taught that you know, the American Constitution and American laws are there to protect us, and that if we're ever charged with a crime we didn't commit, all we have to do is come forward and show our evidence and show that we're. The duty of government is not just to protect life, liberty, and property, but to protect manhood. And I thought about that. We are living under a tyrannical government right now that is doing everything to take our manhood, and by that I'll just say our personhood, our humanhood, to crush our spirit in every possible way. And you see constantly the threat of law enforcement over all aspects of our lives, where you see, in the example of Jeff Weinhaus, he was not even able to defend himself. He was shackled with electric charges, and he was electrocuted when he tried to defend himself. We're seeing where we're all being numbered. We all have to have numbers, licenses, permits for everything. You can't even speak anymore. Government controls everything. You can't even put up a lemonade stand in America. If you put up a lemonade stand right here in America, you'd be shut down. You're supposed to be government permitted, government licensed at all times. And it's gotten so that even every act of living in America it is totally controlled, and yes.
That includes what you're doing here. We're just being told that we have to leave. We can't do this here without a permit.
Where do we get
Our
one?
permit is the First Amendment. That is our
Where
permit.
do we get one? They manage the state capitol where our state capitol, you know, to protect us. They got a management company that does that.
Our permit is the First Amendment.
My understanding is that the rulers, leaders, and higher powers of this entire country are listed in the first 3 words of the Constitution. And that we ordained and established, including amongst our laws, the First
This is a
Amendment.
friendly protest.
And this is peaceful protest. We're assembling here peacefully. Other people
And we're not obstructing we're not obstructing the flow of traffic. I believe the case law, all the way from the U.S. Supreme Court, is very clear. We're not obstructing the flow of traffic. We're not putting up permanent structures.
Nope.
We're just doing.
We're getting our word out.
The state is regulated. We have regulations for this.
Right.
How does the regulations grow that? How do we know it?
We have is if you get a permit to do this.
Have you ever read Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 241, 242, deprivation of rights of the power?
Where are the regulations for
That's
that?
power of law. According to the Supreme Court of the United States, that's power of law.
Where are the regulations? Go down so we can see it.
Who's superior? The Supreme Court?
What should we do?
Okay, who pays for those state tax regulations?
All kinds of different
Right.
We don't stop anybody.
But just so you know, you're doing a capital felony crime here. It's called deprivation of rights and power of law, and it will be upheld at the federal court.
What I'm telling you is when you get a permit, you can do this. You can get a permit.
Our permit is the First Amendment, just so you know. I just want you to be aware of that.
One of the reasons for the permit is so we don't have officer groups on the subject surrounding the same time.
They feel like they're being
I can appreciate you guys choosing a fee.
We don't stop anybody from getting a permit. Like you said, as long as you don't.
I'm sure it's all wrong.
That's what I was going to say. How much does it cost? Okay. You know what? We wouldn't have to be here. Governor Parsons
I
would
was
just see us.
in court a few days ago in Northwest
Right, Roger?
Nevada.
Right, Nikki?
And they were trying to deprivate my rights. I dropped all charges, and they were afraid, the judge was actually afraid, of being put in prison for the scaffolding violations of time.
See us, we wouldn't have to be doing
What I'm saying is there's an easy route to do this. You go get the permit, you can be here all day.
No, that's not an easy route. The easy route is to come on state property. We own it.
The easiest route would be for Governor Parsons.
You want us?
If you're being violent in any way or causing trouble, or
You want us to pay for something that's our natural liberty?
Free.
Yeah.
that doesn't matter, but we're not. Yeah, but I'm trying to explain to you Title 18, U.S. Code 241 and 242. Deprivation
I'm
of rights.
freezing.
There's a very severe. I would recommend that you read that on your own when you get a moment.
We need to read our code of state regulations, which runs
That's what I'm talking about. That is color of law. That's opposed to the Constitution. I'm talking about from the Supreme Court of the United States.
all you have to do is get a permit. And they'll give you why. They don't stop anybody from speaking.
Is this permit free?
Look at
It is free.
the person
It's gonna take us about
right
2
there.
years to
That
get.
person right there. Your state trooper shot that guy. They deprived him of the right to live. Well, they tried to deprive him of the right. He
Well, they
survived.
did deprive him of the right to live. He's incarcerated for 30 years.
He's incarcerated for
Argue
30
that case, I wasn't sure, I don't know.
What we're telling you about now. What they did to him? Two shots in the head.
He survived, and then they put him in prison because they call him a troublemaker because he's exposing
Some bad guy
corruption.
shot my wife in the head and killed her, and I'm glad they're caught.
Hi, John. It's freezing here.
Arrested. So we can argue it all day long.
Shaking.
Okay?
The worst
That's
feeling.
what my wife was like, but with a hole in the back of her head.
Everybody's shaking. It's freezing.
The cops are the ones who found the gun.
I'm doing the best I
I
can.
wouldn't know, but that one was done by deprivating his rights. He was a blogger. He was a blogger. He was exposing corruption.
I
At
know.
all different levels of government. Okay. They broke into his house. They stole his computers. Then they said, "Well, bring back your computer." And then they shot him. Pardon? I just wanted to explain this to you, and also this is all being recorded. This is going to go on YouTube.
Live. Live.
I
Okay,
understand
this is going to be
Live.
Yes.
Live.com.
Well, he's a constitutional patriot. That's what I care about.
It'll keep going on if we don't stand up for our
I
rights.
understand that you're upset. I get that. That's my point. But if you just need a permit, then you can really get out here and tell everybody all day long and nobody will stop.
Don'tcomply.com. Don'tcomply.com.
Right.
Very clear.
Right.
We have a right to protest.
Do you want?
We have a right to
I get that.
Normally I would shock her for talking, but I can't.
I don't want to cause any trouble. And we get what you're saying. But we should all, you guys should be working with us to restore the rule of law. You
I
understand
want to
what I'm
work with you. That's why I told you how to get a permit and do it. Here's the problem. You guys want to tell
Everybody is. I can't get warm. My hands are.
to get out of prison.
Yes, I understand that. I want you to be able to do that safely and on our ground.
Yeah, the news will be here too.
That's what I said. If you get a permit, then you can do that. And you can either argue constitutionality about protesting, or you can get his message out. That's what I want. So if you want to
Avoid my question now.
there is a way to do that. Just get what the state requires.
Hi, John.
But what about what the Constitution requires?
Yeah.
We're actually here primarily for the Constitution and because he's a fellow supporter of the Constitution. He's a constitutionalist. He's all over the nation on YouTube and that kind of thing. Okay, alternate news media, you might say. And the cop shot him because he's exposing corruption in the government. Okay?
That's what I'm saying. To me, it seems like a very small thing to ask that you just go get the permit and come back to the state.
It's
The point is, the First Amendment is our permit, and the case law is overwhelming. If you were to arrest us for trespassing, you could be sued right now.
Oh, yeah.
I've been threatened by every guy I've arrested almost all the time, all my different jobs, and different police departments, how they would sue.
We are not trespassing.
I know what the rules
Hey,
and
John.
laws are, I know that.
Blue ISIS in the house. 3 of them.
Roger was
It sounds like you're not as clear on the law as I think.
I'm filming from inside of my jail cell. The Capitol is being built bigger. Imagine that.
Most of these people around me are Missourians. Missouri, of course, is the show me state. It's the state of Harry S. Truman. I think a lot of people think of Missouri as one of these plain talking kind of places where the history and the culture of the state of Missouri is one of plain talk, show me. Harry Truman, of course, was known as president. He wasn't perfect, he wasn't great, but he was known as one of the presidents that was all about plain talk. The buck stops here. One of the greatest Missourians of all time, of course, is Mark Twain, one of America's greatest writers, perhaps America's greatest writer in some ways. You know, for some reason I had thought Mark Twain was the author of that great quote, "No man's life, liberty, or property is safe so long as the legislature is in session." I happened to look that up. It wasn't Mark Twain who gave us that quote. It was another man in New York. But while I was looking up Mark Twain quotes, I came across a quote that Mark Twain wrote in his journal once, and it was that the greatest duty of government is not just to protect life, liberty, and property, but to protect manhood. And I thought about that. We are living under a tyrannical government right now that is doing everything to take our manhood, and by that I'll just say our personhood, our humanhood, to crush our spirit in every possible way. And you see constantly the threat of law enforcement over all aspects of our lives, where you see, in the example of Jeff Weinhaus, he was not even able to defend himself. He was shackled with electric charges, and he was electrocuted when he tried to defend himself. We're seeing where we're all being numbered. We all have to have numbers, licenses, permits for everything. You can't even speak anymore. Government controls everything. You can't even put up a lemonade stand in America. If you put up a lemonade stand right here in America, you'd be shut down. You're supposed to be government permitted, government licensed at all times. And it's gotten so that even every act of living in America is totally controlled. And yes.
That includes what you're doing here. We're just being told that we have to
That's ironic.
Where did we get
Our
one?
permit is the First Amendment. That is our permit.
Contact OA facilities management, and all you do is you tell them what you're going to be doing, and they give you a
Managed the state capital where we are our state capital.
Our permit is the First Amendment.
My understanding is that the rulers, leaders, and higher powers of this entire country are listed in the first 3 words of the Constitution, and that we are ordained and established, including amongst our laws.
And we're not obstructing justice. We're not obstructing the flow of traffic. I believe the case law all around the U.S. Supreme Court is very clear. We're not obstructing the flow of traffic. We're not putting up permanent structures.
get all that.
We're getting our word out.
The state has regulated, and they have regulations for this. on
Right.
how it's to be
Where's the
operated.
Have you ever
One
read?
of the requirements we have is that you get a permit
Right.
to do this.
Have you ever read Title 18 U.S. Code?
Doing this for numerous years. I have nothing but the full respect for anybody that wants to have any freedom of speech about anything, because I don't have opinions. I'm simply explaining to you, as a group, as a whole. I am not asking you to leave. I am explaining to you why my officers make contact to say.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I asked them, they said I couldn't without the official going through all the permit and booking.
You have to say, as much as I despise government generally, this is beautiful, you know, gorgeous buildings.
Yeah, they're gorgeous buildings.
Well, if we go up to the second floor, there's some really cool historical paintings, and then on the 3rd floor, that's what I want to show Roger, is the House Lounge, and it was painted by a guy called Thomas Hart Benton in the 1920s. That's amazing.
And he was the Benton name is famous in Missouri. He was a U.S. senator. He was in duels, you know, Senator Benton.
We are inside the Capitol building with our signs. We got put out from the sidewalk. Our First Amendment was very violated.
Well, the thing was practically over anyways. We were almost ready to leave anyways, and these fucking cops come and tell us we needed a permit, and he's just wrong on that. He would lose on that in court, but that doesn't prevent him from arresting you sometimes. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. How much more are we going to take?
How much more are we going to take?
Where there's no vision, the people perish.
Yeah, you'd think that they would kind of promote this, but I think they don't want a bunch of people coming all the time. They don't. If you showed up at the Capitol, you wouldn't know what was up there.
Yeah, this guy is a famous painter. In fact, I've seen some of these this same painter had some stuff that's in the history books, you know, where even the history of art